Hi everyone, my name's Laura Elizabeth, and this week I'm running a 2-hour online workshop called Career Alchemy for Creatives: How to Discover Your Dharma, Ignite Your Inspiration, and Manifest Abundance in the Age of Independent Lifestyle Design. And I'd like to chat with you just a little bit here about a little more about what we're going to be doing on this workshop. We're going to be doing some intuitive readings on the workshop, some energy work, and we're going to be giving you some career and money strategies to help you identify what your dharmic path is, and more specifically, what your dharmic career is. We're going to be calling that our life path vision in this workshop. And after we've addressed life path vision issues, we're going to talk in a little bit more detail about 4 components of the career alchemy blueprint. One of them is life path vision, and that's going to help you create what I would call career alchemy in this workshop. And by career alchemy, I mean basically getting to a point in your sense of what you are here to do on the planet, a sense of your dharma, and getting to a point in your life where you are ready to fully align with your life dharma by making sure that from that point on, what you do for your career and what you do as your dharmic path mesh seamlessly. They're one and the same. And you hear a lot of entrepreneurs talking about this career alchemy. One of the people that I really know for sure is definitely talking about this every time he steps onto a stage or writes another book is the guy that wrote Getting Things Done, David Allen. And David Allen's follow-up book to Getting Things Done was called Making It All Work. And his title there was kind of a double entendre, suggesting exactly what we're talking about here in Career Alchemy. And that is, making it all work doesn't necessarily mean it's all work and no play. It means it's your work, it's your life's work, or it's your dharma. So to make it all work is basically becoming a fully integrated human being when you think about it. And that's just a really beautiful vision. Your life path vision, your dharmic career, and your sense of what that dharmic career should be comes from that sense of knowing your purpose, knowing what you're here to do. Right? So we have life path vision and purpose as one of those units that we're going to be talking about on Career Alchemy, but there's 3 others. Because once you've got that, and once you've decided that probably nobody on the planet is ever going to hire you to completely do your dharma and nothing but your dharmic work, you get hired to do a job for someone else. So ultimately, when you get to a point of really living into and fulfilling your dharma on the biggest levels, and we all have stepping stones to get here, absolutely, but ultimately you're going to want to be in control of your own income. You're going to be wanting at some point to be in business for yourself. And because you are in business to fulfill your dharma on the planet, that is your business here on the planet and nobody else's. It is nobody else's business to fulfill your dharma but you. So you are going to have to step into that at some point. If you have made that agreement with whatever part of your highest self knows that you are here to discover what your dharma is and fulfill your dharma, fulfill your life purpose. To not fulfill your life purpose, while you're here on the planet with us as a human being is incredibly unconscious behavior for a soul. When you think about it, we should all fulfill, of course, to basically to fill into that fulfillment of our life purpose should be just sort of the first consideration always for us. But we get lost and bogged down, and we have other people's considerations. We've got kids to care for, or spouses and their jobs, or whatever is pulling us in whatever different direction that we can tend to veer in our day-to-day, life living, making of money and output into society. All of that stuff that makes up our day is the same stuff that makes up your dharma. There is nothing different to fulfilling your Dharma than what you get to do every single day, right? So ultimately, we all know that when we are fulfilling our Dharma to the biggest degree that we can, we will probably not have a boss, really. We are the CEOs of our own lives, right? And we all get that. So the other three parts of this workshop, after we deal with life path vision, are, in order, platform vision, product vision, and production vision. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about those three right now, just so you can get a sense of what we're going to be fleshing out in the full 2 hours with you. So you've got your life path vision. We're going to be workshopping that in here. Then we're going to be workshopping what I call platform vision. And what platform vision is, ultimately, is you having a sense internally through discovering your life path vision of what you're going to be doing when you get to the point where you're going, okay, I know this is what I'm here to do on the planet. Now I have to figure out who I'm going to be helping on this planet. Who am I here to serve? What groups of people do you identify with, or what causes or charities or just people in your life do you identify with as things you are here to serve? And by things, I mean it doesn't always have to be people that you're here to serve either, but you are here to serve. Once you've figured out what your purpose is, you have to figure out who you are here to serve with your gifts, right? Whatever it is that you consider your gift to the world, what is so unique and so amazing and so incredible about you? And you know what that is. We just don't like to talk about what's unique and incredible about ourselves very much in our culture right now, because it's considered boastful, and we're kind of culturally made to sort of become smaller versions of ourselves in case we come across as arrogant or boastful, right? Well, that's not what we're doing right now. Forget about culture, forget about society. What I want you to do right now is take a deep breath and really listen to the first honest, beautiful words about yourself, about the best in you, about who you really are in your best persona version of yourself. You know that that's what you aspire to. That's what you aspire to be. You aspire to be good. You aspire to be amazing. Of course you do. That would be ultimate fulfillment of your life purpose. If you were amazing at it, not just if you were mediocre about it and okay about it because you're modest. What's that, So tell yourself, honestly, what is it that is unique about you? What amazing gifts do you have that help others all of the time? That are obviously not things that everyone has, because they're things that are always pointed out to you that you do well. Or you do well, or you see yourself doing well, or you see yourself understanding better than someone else, or whatever the average is. What are you exceptional at? What are those things that you are exceptional at? You know what they are. And you know things like how you work best, what you desire, who you desire to be around in your ideal day. Where do you desire to be on your ideal days? With who do you want to have dinner with every night? It's all about who on this level. And the who that you have just described to me is none other than the same who that you mostly should be looking at targeting in some form as your target demographic, as your platform. When you've figured out who you are here to serve, you know that those people are probably the ones that need to be hearing you and seeing you and feeling you outreach to them from your business to them. Your business should be something that serves those people, or serves those people the best, right? So for an example, I went and became a yoga teacher after my daughter turned 3. And I had a mentor in my yoga teacher training program. And the mentor basically was there to tell me that just as important as learning the asanas was going to be for me at this stage of my yoga teaching career, it was also going to be equally as important for me to figure out who I wanted to teach yoga to. But the other thing I was realizing when I put this workshop together was I wasn't just teaching career alchemy. I was going to teach career alchemy to creatives. And this is a perfect next platform vision example for you. So career alchemy for creatives, this program right here that you're sitting here listening to, is basically marketed specifically for people like you. I'm a creative. I was a liberal arts major. I was an anthropology major. I did master's work in post-colonial literature. I read tarot cards. I became a yoga teacher. I became an event director. I became a person who started to work with intuitive readings and energy work together. I created the virtual tarot school and summits teaching people abundance practices, and now I've got these little empires of just my dharmic vision created and put into the world in front of me after just being in what I would really consider my truly alchemical career path for just 5 years. And already I've got this amazing success. But the reason I've attained it is because I've figured out how to practice career alchemy for me, for my personality type. Obviously, I'm a very creative person. I'm a right brain thinker. The left brain stuff, the analytical side of my business, the linear side, the finance side, was something that was much more difficult for me to get really good at than the creative side, the logo designing, the website designing, the words, the copy, the vision, the beauty, you know, the traffic flow at the events, the content of the workshop. I loved creating all of that. That was creative work. But the linear side was a little more difficult for me. And I'm sure for you too. If you're identifying yourself as a creative, then I get you. I totally get how you function or how you don't function or how you perceive that you can't function, which is absolute nonsense, and I'll teach you why in the workshop. But honestly, these are the types of people that I need to serve. I need to serve creatives because I am a creative. I enjoy hanging out with creatives. We see things differently. We have to think things through differently. There's no mold you can really fit us into as a group. You know, if you're a creative, your life path vision is going to be like no one else's on the planet. If I know you, and if you know you, if you're really checking in right now, you know you're unique if you're a creative. And you just haven't figured out exactly how or exactly what to do with that uniqueness. And that's usually where we find ourselves. Well, the first step there, after you've done your life path vision and your platform vision, you can say, well, that's all well and dandy, but exactly what are we going to give to these people? What are we here to give them? And that's where the next step in this program comes in, and that step is called product vision. And the product vision part of this workshop is where we're going to really analyze all of the possibilities that are available to you as so-called products that you can quote-unquote offer your audience or your platform, right? Once you've figured out who you are here to serve, I've kind of figured out I'm here to serve creatives who really want some form of a blueprint to follow to get into that alchemical, dharmic career envelopment that is going to lift them into abundance. And my people know that they're amazing, and they know they have these amazing creative talents that they want to pull into this alchemical career. They just haven't quite figured out even the area that the steps might exist in for them to get there, because they're so in their creativity usually that even understanding what a framework for a business even is sometimes very difficult for people like us. So trust me, I've really got this down to an essence for you that I think will work for you because it worked for me. So I'm not going to be teaching you exactly how to run your business because that's something that is going to be completely different for everyone that I know. You know, my businesses run completely differently than my friends' businesses run. Some of my friends love putting on events like I do, and others of them cringe when they need to put on an event. And we'll talk about what I just said. The need to put on an event. That's not necessarily entirely an accurate statement. You don't actually need to put on any events if you don't want to. But I can probably show you a few different ways to put on events live and virtually. That something in there will probably appeal to you as a smart idea for your business eventually. Trust me. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't want to take completely off the table for yourself and your business unless you absolutely have to. I love putting on events, so putting together the Flagstaff Yoga Festival and selling the festival out at a 1,000 person attendance in its first year was one of the most enjoyable experiences of my career for me, for going from nothing to 1,000 people in 1 year, and totally profitable and totally filling a very beautiful specific niche in its market, in the yoga market of northern Arizona. Tiny little niche, but it just, at a physical event without the email marketing even in my life yet. The email marketing really entered the picture for me in the second year, but at that stage I already had figured out how to put together a business or a career move that involved events very, very well indeed. If you can figure out how to put together a good event in your niche, whatever you decide your niche is, whoever you decide you're here to serve and what you're here to serve them with, right? For me, it's like this unique blend of energy work and intuitive reading and marketing strategy, because I seem to have all three of those down. And I'm a very creative person. I keep creating stuff with those skills. So that's where I find I'm best teaching people, is teaching people who can do that. And so usually, if you're a creative, some sort of event or another is really going to appeal to you. And we're going to show you a way to really think through your events that might be a little more playful, that might feel a bit more oblique to you as a career strategy at first, but when you really look at what we are doing with events in our businesses today, I think you'll find that it's actually very strategic, and it might actually have a lot more long-term benefit and yield to your business to focus on your events just as much, if not more, than you focus on your website, your product, your marketing, or any other aspect of your business. But that product is extremely important to figure out a mix of that works for you. And by product mix, I mean you're not just going to usually have one thing that you do. As is evidenced here by this slide. You can see I've got 7 examples of different products that I've created over the last few years and done very well with in many different ways in my business. You know, I've sold multiple products to each of these brands, I suppose. So for instance, with the yoga festival, my products were tickets to the yoga festival, but my products were also vendor spaces at the festival. So there's a few different income streams right there. And then there was sponsorship. And then I started working with people at the festival to work with the presenters themselves on what they could do really with the platform of a spot teaching at the festival. So we worked on, how they could use their yoga workshops as platforms to sell more of whatever they had. So I had one presenter who was selling, CDs of her meditations. I had another presenter that was selling a teacher trainer program. I had another person who was selling a book, and so on and so forth. And they all just basically needed a little guidance on exactly how they could monetize the platform that they had been given. And so that's what we did. But as you can see, there are so many different ways that you can monetize a platform, right? You figure out what your platform is by figuring out who you're going to be serving, or what causes you're going to be serving, or some combination of those two. And then you've got to figure out what you're going to sell them. What products? Are you going to sell them events? Are you going to serve them with web content? Are you going to serve them with emails and email newsletters? Are you going to charge for an online subscription to your training or your ongoing mastermind? Are you going to give them readings or coaching sessions? Are you going to give them tickets to events? There are so many ways. You can sell them box sets of DVDs, so many ways that you can really have a very versatile portfolio, in a sense, of products that you sell to your platform. So we're going to talk about that relationship and that evolution of a product stream or a product suite that is available to you. And the best way to think about what we're doing with products is just to kind of ask yourself, well, how could I serve this platform, this group of people that I've decided I'm here to serve? How can I do that? And you're going to come up with product ideas when you ask yourself that question. So that's what we're going to be talking in that section of the workshop about. And then we're also going to be talking about the fourth part of this Career Alchemy program. And that part is production vision. And we're going to be doing a reading, by the way, for each of these levels of Career Alchemy. Each of these steps is going to have an intuitive reading that I'm going to gift you with. And you can follow along and do this intuitive reading for yourself during the workshop. So I would recommend coming to the workshop with a deck of oracle cards or some rune stones or some tarot cards or a pendulum or whatever your favorite divinatory modality is. Make sure that that's available to you when you go through this 2-hour workshop with us this week, because we are going to be giving you some readings, and I'm going to be guiding you through one of the readings and doing that alongside you in the workshop. And then I'm going to give you all 4 of the readings, so you'll have a chance to play with that during the workshop. These readings are going to give you a lot more information about all of these 4 pieces of Career Alchemy. It's going to give you more information about your life path vision and your Dharma. Then it's going to give you a lot of information about your platform, who you're here to serve, what causes, what ways are you bettering the world, your platform. It's going to give you a lot of information about your product, what exactly you're going to be giving, serving, and selling to your platforms in order to actually make the money flow. There are perfect products for you that wouldn't be the perfect products for anyone else, even if they had the same platform as you, even if they had the same email list of you, which is unlikely if not impossible. You would turn out very unique products to that same platform. And so we're going to talk about that in that reading about product. And then finally, we're going to talk about production vision. And there'll be a production reading for you to fill out as well. And I'm going to give you a little bit more information about production, since I gave some information about product and platform and life path and purpose. So the fourth one, production, is you know who you are, you know who you're here to serve, you know here about what you're here to serve them by doing or giving them. And now you've got to figure out how to roll that service out. What is the production schedule for that service? Okay? And notice we're not calling what you're doing here, well, when am I going to make money on my email list? Or whatever that is for some people. That's it's fine to think of it that way, but here in this reading, we're going to be thinking of it as how am I going to roll out my dharmic service to the world? Because I promise you, if you really think big about what your dharmic service is to the world, and you really allow your unconscious and your conscious minds to come together and collaborate with you in envisioning what your service truly should be to the world, you will remember some of the best daydreams you have ever had before about what you could do with your life. You won't just remember lazing back on a yacht with pretty women in bikinis and drinking champagne. You may remember that. That might be a really fun part of that for you. But you're also going to remember that you dream about, being a hero, about being a heroine, about doing good, about saving something, about healing something. I know you do because we all do, because humans are inherently good. So you're going to remember all of that. And I promise you, if you are living into your production and your product creation and your platform building for your alchemical career with all of the intention of that dharmic knowledge of what you are truly here to do in a big way, if you had the abundant resources of the entire universe at your service, how would you serve, right? And in production here, we talk about how to roll out that schedule of how to serve, okay? So obviously, there's a way to do your dharmic career on this earth. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to discover what your dharma was in the first place if it wasn't possible. So here in production, we take that perspective here. And I promise you, if you really roll out your visions with as much heart and soul as you can in a very strategic way, so taking your businesses seriously enough as part of your dharmic path to really do your best for your businesses with your strategy and how much energy you put into them, all of that is going to further your dharma. And all of that, therefore, is possible because your dharma is always possible. It's your dharma. It's what you're here to do. It wouldn't be what you were here to do unless you could actually do it. Does that make sense? So this is possible, and in the production period, we're going to show you exactly and specifically how to make that possible. And that is important too, okay? A lot of people will think, is this possible or not? And then they'll stop there, because very often their first answer when they check in and say, is this possible? Their first answer is no. Just like my 18-year-old self's first answer to whether or not I could charge $500 for a reading was no. The answer was actually yes. I just hadn't figured out how to charge $500 for a reading, or who to charge it to, or where to advertise, or when to advertise, and when to go speak, and when to run classes, and when to focus on my website, and how much to write blog posts, and how much credence to give search engine optimization strategy, and how to create video, and all of the stuff that I learned along the way. Those were just answers to my questions. So I went and got the answers to my questions, and I made that production schedule happen. I had to create the production schedule, and when I did that for Flagstaff Yoga Festival, for instance, I realized that to make this actually happen, if I was being realistic, I needed to book that event 9 months out minimum. I wish I had 2 years, but I couldn't do it in less than 9 months. So I scheduled 9 months to get it up and running, and I scheduled my first event. And when I did that, the event was scheduled. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me that I had to do all of these other steps. I had to have a schedule for filling my event. I had to have a way to fill my event. I had to have an advertising strategy. I had to have a way to choose my presenters. I had to have a way to create with my presenters the schedule of workshops. I had to have a way to advertise that schedule to people, so I needed to create a website, and all of this stuff happened because I set the date, I booked the date, and then because of that, I needed to schedule what needed to happen to make the event happen, because I had already decided that the event was happening on that date. So I just made myself do it because I had a production schedule. So for instance, if the production schedule simply said you should probably have your postcards for your event ordered and with you and in your hands by this date, then I had that date as my deadline, and I did whatever it took to get my postcards by that date. I made sure I had learned how to create a JPEG file on my computer, for instance, because that factored in to having a postcard. So I had to learn those skills because I had my production schedule. But knowing how to create a production schedule in the first place is a whole strategy game all by itself, and we're going to talk about that in this workshop too. And your production schedule, what you roll out and when, and how you roll it out, is again going to be unique. It's going to be different for you than anyone else on the planet. So we're going to be guiding you through that intuitive work here to get real answers for yourself. So more than me giving you a production vision here, in this workshop, and this is the same for all these sections, you are actually going to be creating your production schedule for yourself. Okay? So here's a slide that sums up everything that we're going to be talking about on this 2-hour workshop for you. We're going to be doing a career alchemy reading that's going to give you a little bit more about your life purpose and career path, which is really why you are running your business. Then we're going to be talking about that all-important who in the next section of the workshop, the audience, the platform, and the subscribers that you'll need to run your career. This doesn't necessarily have to be online, it doesn't have to be live events, even if you just want to teach something locally, or if you want to have a store, you need to worry about your customers and the traffic flow to your business and things like that. That's all included in platform. What is your platform? Maybe your platform's a yoga studio. Maybe it's an event. Maybe it's a website. Maybe it's a training program that you teach at a university. You know, whatever your platform is, that's going to be an important part to figure out. That's what we figure out in who. And this is just review again. We've already gone over all of these, but we've got why and who and how. That's the promotion stuff we just talked about. We'll talk about that last. And then we have what. That's the products and the packages there. So those are, in essence, the 4 sections of this 2-hour workshop that we're going to go into for you this week. So I hope you can join us. I think we'll learn a lot, not just intuitive knowledge on these levels, but you're also going to be getting a lot of career and marketing strategy from me here, as well as that guidance on life path and dharma, and how again to exactly make your dharma and your career and your money all flow together in the most beautiful, effortless way you have ever known, but the way that feels the most right on to your soul, the way that things have to flow in order for you to really live into your dharma. So everything's kind of framed that way, and then we'll go ahead and really explore these 4 different sections for you in our 2-hour workshop. So I hope you can join us. There's an opt-in box somewhere on the screen where you're viewing this video. So go ahead and put your name in there and reserve your seat on that 2-hour workshop with us, Career Alchemy for Creatives. I'd love to have you join us. I again am Laura Elizabeth, and we'll see you soon.